Hello, good morning. Today I'm going to talk to you something interesting, that is autopilot. So a lot of people always wonder whether can aircraft fly by itself, can it take off by itself, can it land by itself. So I'm going to talk to you about that. So we divide the phase of flying, right? Like aircraft will, from the gate, it will be pushed back to the taxiway. From taxi, it will go to runway. From runway, it will take off. Then it will climb. Then it will cruise, right? At the certain altitude, it will just cruise. Then it will descend and approach, then land. Okay, these are the phases. In these phases, except taxiing and takeoff, everything else is automated, can be done by autopilot, because the regulation does not allow people, for the airline to taxi, right? This is the taxi and takeoff is not allowed. Not allowed means it's not allowed by the autopilot. Everything else is allowed. So what normally pilot does, once he take out, once the aircraft climbs a little bit, then he will engage the autopilot system. So autopilot system, the purpose of it to reduce the workload and the fatigue of the pilots, because you are flying for 14 hours, 17 hours. So you need to have some sort of a relief, right? Instead of holding the control surfaces control columns and the joystick for a longer period of time, this autopilot will assist the take over, not assist, it just does this job. So how does it work? Let us start with flight management system. So before the flight, in the flight management system, pilot gives the destination. Like for example, Sydney to London. If he gives the destinations, he enters the 3-letter airport code. Then the enters that one and gives the waypoints. Waypoint means it's just like a cities, right? When you are driving the car, you have one route, you have different routes you can get back to get on to your destination. Same way, in airline we have in aviation we have what you call waypoints. That means you fly from this waypoint, this point to this point, from that point to that point. So these waypoints are entered. It's a 5-letter word code that you enter. So the flight management system find the optimized route along the way, right? And I'm going to talk about flight management. I'm going to talk to you only about autopilot. So flight management system take all the information, everything. Then it will feed the what you call autopilot computer, right? Autopilot computer in turn will send the command to respective flight controls, right? Flight control surfaces. Some airlines will have a separate system. Some airlines have all integrated system. Then what happens when the command is given, that will be sent to servo motors. Then the servo motors will actuate the your control surfaces to go up or down or turn or left or right. So this is how so that it will bring the aircraft back to the exact flight path pre-planned by the flight crew, right? Then now when it comes to approach, when it comes to land, it descends, then it comes to landing, isn't it? So landing is basically it has to approach the airport. So the approach is done by two systems. One is ILS, instrument landing system in the airport, that is at the right end of the runway. Another one is glide slope. So that gives you the vertical and horizontal navigation. So that it will the aircraft will be center aligned. It will center line to the runway, and the angle of approach, that is about 3 degrees, the angle of approach will come and touch down. So all this can be monitored by the by the radio signals and type of what do you call signals, not signals, what do you call the megahertz from they send 150 megahertz and 150 and 90 left and right, so that the aircraft will center without getting caught to that area. So we'll put another video on this ILS and glide slope, but just to understand, then the aircraft can touch down. So entire system is called loop system. Looping means closed loop system. That means FMS give the feedback, FMS give the command to the autopilot, give the feedback to the autopilot computer gives the feedback of command to the flight controls, and the flight controls aerodynamic movement forces will give the feedback to the air data computer. So it's a loop, just keep on going like that. Then that way it will solve the entire flying. So basically autopilot, it controls the control surfaces, primary flight control surfaces, primary and secondary flight control surfaces, and that in turn make the aircraft fly by its own. Another one called auto throttle system. Then auto throttle system is independent from autopilot system, but they are integrated. They can be integrated. That means pilot can engage autopilot as well as auto throttle. If you engage the auto throttle, it's like a cruise control. So it will manage the speed and altitude, everything based on what you are required. So pilot doesn't need to do anything. Once you take off, he engages autopilot, auto throttle, aircraft will fly. In case if he doesn't want any